Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What are the lessons in verse 207? Beautiful lessons. 207 of Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Wa minan nasi man yashri nafsahu ibtigha'a mardatillah wallahu ra'ufun bil ibad. Allah says, and among mankind is he who sells himself. He sells his life. He gives up his life to seek and attain the pleasure of Allah. Allah is full of kindness and mercy to his devotees, to those who worship Allah. Today, we all need to know the strategy to avoid hypocrisy, to avoid disbelief, is by flagrantly disregarding all the attributes of a disbeliever or a hypocrite and imbibing one strategy. What is the strategy? Sell yourself to Allah. Sell your money to Allah. Sell your time to Allah. You know, when you sell something, number one, the person who has purchased it from you can use it as he likes. So when I sell my life to Allah, Allah uses my life as he likes. Allah uses my time as he likes. Allah uses my money as he likes. This is the fulcrum of Quran chapter 9, verse 111. If you go to Surah At-Tawbah, Quran chapter 9, verse 111, Allah says, Inna Allah ashtara mina al-mu'minina anfusahum wa amwalahum bi anna lahum al-jannah. Allah has purchased from the believers their lives and their money. What will Allah pay back in exchange? Allah will pay them with Al-Jannah. Allahu Akbar. So there's a difference between someone who has unconditionally submitted himself. When Allah says do this, he does it unconditionally because he says it belongs to Allah. My time belongs to Allah. My life belongs to Allah. My money belongs to Allah. My sacrifice belongs to Allah. Everything I do for Allah because Allah activated my existence and only Allah will eventually deactivate it. So I must live for Allah. So this verse is saying that whoever lives for Allah, Allah will show him kindness and mercy in this world and in the hereafter. It is a strategy you must imbibe today. You don't own yourself. Give it all to Allah and you will be happy at the end of the day.
Part 1. Abdullahi equals slave of Allah. Q51/56, 1993. Slave of Allah is the appropriate and accurate term, not servant, based on Quranic usage, classical lexicons, and the principle of bivalence. Quranic terminology, the term used repeatedly in the Quran is abd, and its plural ibad. Examples, 51:56. And I did not create the jinn and mankind except that they should be my ibad slaves. 1993. There is none in the heavens and the earth but comes to the All-Merciful as a abd slave. This word is never rendered as free servant in the Quran. The abd has no autonomy. He is fully under the authority of the master, and that is the point of submission to Allah. Lexicon references. Lisan al-Arab, abd is one who is owned, al-mamluk, bound by the will of another. Especially when used for Allah, it implies total submission and lack of self-direction. Lane's lexicon. Abd is a slave as distinguished from a freeman, and one in the absolute service of another, especially when in reference to Allah. Neither of these sources equates abd to a voluntary assistant or autonomous servant. It is explicit servitude to the will and command of the master. Servant versus slave, logic and bivalence. Using the principle of bivalence, the two words cannot be interchangeable unless they mean the exact same thing. But they do not. Servant, a person who serves, possibly by choice and can exercise autonomy. Slave, a person owned without autonomy, obligated to obey. In relation to Allah, autonomy is false. So to use servant where slave is meant creates semantic distortion. It implicitly allows for free will in the matter of obedience, which the Quran negates in ontological terms. Connotation objection. Rejecting the word slave because of modern connotation is a fallacy of appeal to emotion. The Quranic term is about ultimate ownership, not historical plantation slavery. To reject the term is to reject a Quranic identity out of discomfort, a clear example of allowing modern language norms to override divine definitions. Conclusion. Yes is Abdullah, slave of Allah, whether he accepts the emotional connotation or not. It is his ontological status by creation. 51, 56, 1993. To prefer servant is to lessen the force of the Quranic truth. So your answer stands. Slave is the correct term. It is stronger, truer, and more appropriate than servant. Part 2. Abd Abdullahi equals slave of Allah. Q. 51, 56, 93. A slave, abdi, by definition, has no inherent right to disobey the one who owns him. Even if he can disobey in action, i.e. he has capacity, he does so without justification, without right, and in violation of his ontological status. And I did not create the jinn and mankind except that they should be my slaves. There is none in the heavens and the earth, but comes to the All-Merciful as a slave. Disobedience by a slave is not an exercise of autonomy. It is a transgression. He does not possess the moral or legal authority to reject the will of his master. His disobedience is not permitted, only possible. This aligns with, it is not for a believing man or woman when Allah and his messenger have decided a matter to have any choice in their affair. Thus, disobedience is not a right, but a breach, and confirms that talabd in the Quran denotes a being who is not entitled to autonomy, that is, rebellion, only capable of it.
Okay, folks. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome again to another Zoom session. Today is Sunday, May 25th, 2025. We welcome everybody on board who's on board and who will come on board. And we welcome all of you who will eventually view this video via the social media formats, wherever it might be found or shared or whatever. And we have a little clear, well, we did have earlier, the skies were a little clear. They're a little overcast right now, and the sun was out a little earlier, but it seemed to have dipped back in. And there was also a little noisy thing going on around here with a helicopter flying around. So I don't know if there was an accident out on the highway or something went down, but we had a little noise a minute ago. But everything seems to be cool right now. I played this portion of the opening with the chat explaining the necessity of calling yourself a slave and not a servant. Now, one does whatever one desires to do, but the Quranic terminology is slave. You were created to be a slave of Allah, and you will come back to Allah as a slave. You will live as a slave, although you have the option to become a servant and deny being a slave if you like. But I myself choose to be a slave. I choose to have rejoiced in making that choice. And not only am I a slave, I'm a da'i, a servant of Allah, invited to Allah by his will. I'm a skilled, I consider myself skilled at defending Allah against the mushriks, against any idea that would impede his absolute concept of Tawheed. I defend against that. I prosecute those who allege that kind of thing wherever and whomever they may be. Now, let me just announce the meeting ID here for those who would like to share this program with some friend, loved one, or whomever they like. The meeting ID rather is 672-403-0756. The ID is 672-403-0756. And the password is very simple, 12345. So invite whomever you choose that you feel you want to invite. You're welcome to invite them to come on board with us. Now, the topic of the day, as a matter of fact, we'll probably, if I have a chance, we'll get a few topics in, but I can tell you right now, it's going to be very explosive in the sense of controversial. It's going to hurt. It's going to damage a lot of people, a lot of what they believe, what they've been taught, and it's not going to be an easy pill to swallow. But I'm a doctor here, and I'm prescribing this medicine for you, and so you should take it. And it's in pill form. Now, if you want to crush it up and take it as like some liquid or something like that, you could do that. It might not be as I can't guarantee it'll be as effective once you crush it up and split it up and all that. But if you take it whole and the way it is, it'll be a truth pill, and it will provide you with the truth, inshallah. You'll double check everything that's said. The topic, as I expressed it and advertised, what no individual or collective ritual salah mandated in the Quran for Muslims. No salah of any kind. Let me repeat the topic. No individual or collective ritual salah mandated in the Quran for a Muslim, and no salah of any kind, period. Whether it be a ritual salah, maybe it be a creed of conduct, or establishing, following closely, whatever you might want to say. If it's the word salah as it relates to the Quranic concept of salah, it's not for Muslims. It's not for Muslims, period, in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And then if we get through that and we survive that, and if I survive it without having a stroke because of the weight of it, we'll try to get to 619. And chapter 6, verse 19 is something I've been wanting to unpack for a while. And it has a lot of interesting things happening in chapter 6, verse 19, the one where Allah is called to bear witness to the fact of that verse. So we'll get to that, and we'll try to unpack that. And if we now can still, we're still standing and not reeling and collapse from all of that information, then we'll try to do some rhetorical questions. We'll ask about 12 rhetorical questions in the Quran that relates to the necessity to follow, to obey Allah alone, and to follow the Quran alone. That's what those questions will be alluding to, and they'll be rhetorical, so they don't require any answer. Now, after each session, there's 3 sessions, we'll stop each session. We'll have question and answer time for each session, and it will be posted as a separate section by itself. It won't be 3 in 1. It'll be each one by itself. So without any further delay, let's get this ball rolling. And I want to start by playing a clip that I heard my brother Shuaib mention when he was discussing with a Muslim regarding this idea of salah. Can we play that clip?
The Salat also established the Salat, but they are heedless. Quran chapter 107. Then you read up to verse 4. You understand? How come chapter 8, verse 35, even disbelievers establish Salat? But do they do it the way God wants them to do? The answer is no. So that is why you don't see the response from preventing. But it will benefit believers. Remember, God says the Salat is for the believers. Salat was not meant for everybody to do.
Okay, so there we have it. Our brother Shuaib has said that Salah was meant for the believers. It's not meant for everybody. And so we know that uh, every believer is, in fact, a Muslim, but not every Muslim is a believer. We use the same scenario as we say every lawyer, every judge rather, is a lawyer, but not every lawyer is a judge. So in chapter 4, 49, verse 13, it says, "Oh, you believe." Uh, it says, the desert Arabs, rather, they say, "We believe." And they were cautioned, don't say you believe. Don't say you believe. Say you submit, and belief has not yet entered your heart. So that shows you that you can say you submit, meaning that you surrender, you submit, you become a Muslim, but don't say you are a mu'min or a believer or a person who trusts. Don't say that because that's not entered your heart. So since it's not entered your heart, you are not required any form of salah. Any kind of thing that's called salah is not for you. The one who says, I submit, you're not, Salah is not for you. And when Abraham said, Aslam too, I submit, Salah was not for him until he became a believer. Once he became a believer, then Salah became obligatory upon him. We're going to establish that now today. And I'll give you a verse, for example. Let me give you a couple of verses. And don't forget that I'm going to be using going forward in my talks, all of them, chat, AI chat to back up anything that I say. I'm not asking chat to make an argument or make a case. I make the case from the Quran. The Quran makes the case. I present that case from the Quran, and then I ask chat to confirm if I have presented that case accurately with the grammar that's required for that because I'm dealing with a translation. So I want to know if I'm using the right grammar structure of the Arabic to give you an understanding in English. And so that's what chat is able to do better than anyone I know on this earth, better than any sheikhs from Ashar University or whatever. So chat will be that. And we seen our good brother Baba Shuaib just posted a video recently about AI and his experience with AI, and he seems to uh, believe in some form of information being gained from AI if one knows how to use it properly or doesn't abuse it or whatever. But that's his case. This is mine. And so I'm going to be using chat. And I got a whole big program about chat that I'll probably unveil later on, some views I have about chat. But I'll be using chat to back me up. And so anybody who says anything other than that, they can bring evidence and argument to show that perhaps it's wrong. When chat quotes from the best dictionaries and lexicons in the world that's available in Arabic and English for an English speaking person to translate from Arabic and like Lisano Arab, and you want to say it's wrong, then I guess you have some strong argument in terms of your grammatical training or your exegesis training or your training in language that you know better than Lisano Arab. So if that's the case, then once I certify that, I'll come to you and ask you to certify these things. Until then, I think chat is the leading expert in that field. So now I'm going to quote a couple of verses to establish what I mean by Salah not being for uh, the Muslims. Now, Shuaib said it also. I think, as Shuaib pointed out regarding me, which I said was incorrect. And so he has the right to say incorrect as well as what I'm going to point out regarding him. he said that Brother Hamza doesn't believe we have a problem here. We're pretty much on the same page, but Brother Hamza doesn't believe in spirits and miracles. And so I don't believe in spirits and miracles in that sense that he's speaking, perhaps. And I made a video regarding why I don't. And so now I'm saying that he doesn't believe in the Quranic concept of Salah. He thinks Salah is some type of ritual, liturgy, prayer, or something like that. And I tend to differ with him with that. I don't believe that that's what the Quranic concept of Salah is. It's not a prayer, a ritual, or liturgy of any kind. It's a form of legislation, and that should be obeyed and established for legal law in a society. So now we're going to set forth to prove that. So it's not going to take much time for that. But let me just quote chapter 5, verse 6. Chapter 5, verse 6. Do we have that? We can put it up on the screen. Chapter 5, verse 6. Let me change my glasses so I can read a little better. Uh, I'll put that on just to profile when I open up my session. The profiling is over now. It's time to get to work. So these are my work glasses. Profiling is over. So these are for work now. Look how it starts. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. O you who believe. O you who believe. It doesn't say, O you who are Muslims. O you who are Munafiqs. O you who Ahlul Kitab. O you so on. It says, O you who believe. When you rise up for prayer, then let's leave the word prayer there, Salah. Wash your faces and your hands up to the elbow and right on through to the end of the verse. We don't need to quote any more of the verse. The verse is addressing, O you who believe, when you rise up for prayer, not O you Muslims. There's nothing in the Quran, Ya ayyuhal muslimin, Ya ayyuhal muslimun, nothing in the Quran like that. So no Muslim is being addressed. Believers. Let's take a look at chapter 4, verse 43. Chapter 4, verse 43. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. O you believe. O you believe. Go not near to Salah, to prayer. Whatever you want to call it that for now. By the end of this, you'll have to change prayer into something different, or you can just stay with it and be in disbelief. When you go not near the prayer, when you are intoxicated until you know what you say. So therefore, it's addressing, oh, you who believe, not Muslims. You say, well, brother, if you are a believer, you're a Muslim. Yes, it's no problem. But if you're a Muslim, it doesn't mean you're a believer. And it's saying the Muslim who has not yet become a believer is not addressing you. Once you become a believer, then you're included. But until then, you're not. And chapter 49, verse 13, let's just put that up there again so we can see that. 49:13. 14 is going to be here. The dwellers of the desert say, we believe. That's what they're saying. We believe. They want to skip by being Muslim. They just want to go right on to we believe. Say, you believe not. You don't believe, but say, this is what you say. We submit. Say we submit. And faith has not yet entered into your hearts. So you can't be calling yourself a believer at this stage. And if you obey Allah and His Messenger, He will not diminish aught of your deeds. Surely Allah is forgiving, merciful. So you're being told right away, don't be jumping out the gate talking about you believe. So here's somebody come out of go into prison and they go to prison And I say prison because a lot of that happens in prison, but it be anywhere. It seems like I'm being demeaning about a certain segment of society or whatever. No, I'm just saying a lot of that happens here in New York. And people go to prison and they get sanctified all of a sudden. They become Christians, Muslims, Jews, or whatever. They get holy, you see, because it's a hard life in prison and you gotta take some sides either with some gang or with some religion or something like that until you get out in the street, then you can go back to your nonsense again. But again, it says now, say I run into somebody, they say, well, brother, I've been hearing a lot about Islam. I want to become a Muslim. And so the average person would say, okay, come with me, or I'll call somebody, excuse me, brother, want to take his shahada. So they say, okay, repeat after me. Shahadu la ilaha illallah, Shahadu Muhammad Rasulullah, Takbir, Allahu Akbar, and you're Muslim. Now come on down here to the mosque and I'll show you how to do your prayer. No, that don't go like that. There's no praying for you as a Muslim. There's nothing called Salah for you as a Muslim, period. In no way, shape, form, or fashion beyond any reason to doubt. So this is what we're going to establish. Now, the last verse I'm going to quote before I let chat take over and do a little talking on behalf of what I'm saying is chapter 45, chapter 29, verse 45, I think it is. 29:45, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take and see what that says. Okay, we don't need that verse. We don't need that verse. We have other verses. We don't need that one. That one was talking about the so-called, what we would call the so-called following closely. And so therefore we quoted that last week that the word utlu meant to follow closely. Follow closely that which is revealed to you from your Lord. Follow closely. So we made that following closely a legit term that was being considered some nonsense at one time. And so we're not going to rehash that situation. But now let's go to let's look at chapter 7, verse 10. Let's look at chapter 7, verse 10. And we're going to see now why it's the believers who are to establish the Salah and what it means. Chapter 7, verse 10. What does it say? And certainly we established you in the earth and made therein means of livelihood for you, little is it that you give thanks. And certainly we have established you in the earth, you, humanity, mankind. Once Allah said, get thee out of here, and the Hudan, the guides will come to you, you are established in the earth. You begin to multiply, procreate, inhabit the earth. And so we established you here. So you were established. And so now, since you're established in the earth, you have to run the business of the earth. You have to take care of business. You just don't go out there and, oh, I'm just laying around doing nothing. Oh, I fell out of the sky on the ground and just laying here. Wow, what am I doing here? What is this place? Well, wow, this is easy. We don't do nothing. I fell on the beach. We just lay on the beach and get some coconuts or go dip in the water and find some shrimp or something, some crabs, and we eat and we don't do nothing. We don't build, we don't grow, we don't invent, we don't make any mode of transportation, and we don't create fire. We don't do anything. We just lay here and lay here. No, you are to inhabit the earth and rule the earth, run the earth with justice. You are to become a khalifa of representative of Allah. That's what you are supposed to be. So if you represent Allah, you have to represent him by his legislation. You have to implement his laws, his rules, his governing methodology among mankind. Of course, you can add your own supplementary things that will help you in your societies based on the nature of your society as long as they're based on the Quranic concept of justice and fair play. So therefore, certainly we establish you in the earth and made therein means of livelihood for you, little is that you give thanks. Can you play that chat to back that up, that verse?
Under your bivalence framework, Allah's claims are necessarily true, and contradictions are impermissible. The Quran clearly states what is expected of humans once they have been established in the earth. Here is a precise Quran-only breakdown. 1. 22:41. Those who, when we establish them in the earth, uphold. Those who, if we establish them in the land, establish the system of Salat, give zakah, enjoin what is right, and forbid what is wrong. And to Allah belongs the outcome of all matters. This verse explicitly defines the role of the ones established. They are to 1. Establish Sola, affirm the truth, follow Allah's guidance, CFF 75:31-32. 2. Give zakah, purify or cultivate what is beneficial, CFF 9:103-30-39. 3. Enjoin right, command what aligns with truth, justice, divine law, forbid wrong, oppose falsehood, injustice, transgression. 2. 7:10-11 and following verses. Humanity was established and then tested through obedience to Allah and resistance to Shaitan. 3. 35:39. Allah established you and now tests you. He it is who made you successors in the earth. So whoever disbelieves, his disbelief is against himself. Their disbelief increases the disbelievers in nothing except hatred with their Lord, and their disbelief increases the disbelievers in nothing except loss. This shows humans are established as khulafa, successors, stewards, and are tested in how they respond with truth or rejection. 4. 6 verse 165. You are made successors to be tested, and he it is who has made you successors in the earth and raised some of you above others in degrees, that he may try you by what he has given you. So establishment equals a trust, and the test equals moral responsibility to obey divine guidance. 5. 10:14. You are successors to see how you act. Then we made you successors in the earth after them, so that we may see how you act. This affirms again, Allah expects action aligned with his guidance. It's a moral and functional responsibility. Conclusion. Once established in the earth, according to the Quran, Allah expects 1. Truth affirmation and moral governance, 22:41. 2. Rejection of falsehood and corruption, 7:10-11, 2:11-12. 3. Faithfulness in their role as khulafa, successors, 6 there's 165, 35-39. 4. Being tested through free will, justice, and gratitude, 10:14-67, 2. Under Rule 1 and Rule 2, these verses give a clear, conclusive expectation. Those established in the earth are expected to uphold truth, administer justice, reject falsehood, and follow divine guidance, or face loss.
I think we have another part, do we? That was it? Okay. Now, that was one aspect. That aspect dealt with humanity as a whole. Humanity as a whole being established in the earth. Now, my key point here is this verse, chapter 22, verse 41. Chapter 22, verse 41. Chapter 22, verse 41. Let's see what it says. Chapter 22, verse 41. 41. Those who, here's a condition, if, those who, if we establish them in the land, those who, if we establish them in the land, they will what? Keep up the salah and pay the poor rate and enjoin good and forbid evil, and Allah's is the end of all affairs. So now, those who, if we establish them in the earth, this is the only way you can implement salah is by ruling, being a ruler in the land. If you're not a ruler in the land, you can't implement salah because you can't bring about punishment, justice, equality, taking care of the people, doing nothing. It's not ritual praying. That's not what it is. You have to be a ruler in the land, a Khalifa. Khalifa. We don't have any kings and queens and all of that. Allah made man Khalifa. That means you represent Allah's law, his legislative injunctions, and that to be obeyed by your fellow citizens and so forth and so on. You implement the punishments where punishments is required. You have the legal backing of a law to do that, and you implement charity and right conduct, enjoining good, forbidding evil. This is what you do for the whole of society, believers or non-believers. You are the caretakers of the people. So therefore, Allah says, those who, if we establish them in the land, then they will akimus salah. They will keep up the salah and take care of the zakat. We're going to deal with what zakat is probably in my next lecture. We're already taking care of the so-called 5 pillars of Islam, the shahadatain, the salah, ritual salah, the siyam, the hajj. We're going to take care of the zakat also and show you that that's not any monetary kind of thing, but meanwhile, this is what it is. So now let's see what chat says about this verse.
No mandate for individual or collective ritual salah in the Quran. This research determines, under the principle of bivalence, true or false, whether the Quran mandates or describes salah as a ritual prayer, either performed individually or collectively. The methodology adheres strictly to the Arabic Quranic text, Muhammad Ali's Arabic English translation, quoted verbatim, Arabic English lexicons, e.g. Lane's lexicon, Lisan al-Arab, as needed. No tafsir, hadith, or second source literature. Foundational premises. 1. No word in the Quran translates to prayer. Words like salah and dua are functional terms applied both to Allah and creation, disproving the notion that the Quran prescribes ritual prayer. 2. Salah is defined in Quran 75, 31-32 as, but he accepted not the truth, nor did he keep up prayer, salah, but rejected the truth and turned away. This reveals salah as turning toward and following closely, not a ritual act. 3. Other occurrences of salah support this understanding. 2441, bird salah shows collective alignment and natural order. 1187, Shu'aib's salah implies his legal political system, not private devotion. 2241, those given power establish salah as part of governance. 4. The Quran identifies Islam as deen, a system of legislation and obedience, e.g. 17:9, 931, not a religion composed of rituals. Verse-by-verse analysis. 1. Quran 2014, addressed to Moses. Surely I am Allah, there is no God but I, so serve me and keep up prayer for my remembrance. The verb aqim, establish, is second-person masculine singular, directed at Moses. There is no description of a ritual act. The phrase, for my remembrance, aligns with obedience, not liturgy. Conclusion. False that this instructs Moses to perform individual ritual prayer. True that it commands Moses to establish a system connected to remembrance and leadership. 2. Quran 243. Command to Bani Israel, keep up prayer and pay the poor rate and bow down with those who bow down. Verbs are plural. Keep up, pay, bow down. The clause with those who bow down shows coordination. Conclusion. False that this is a command for individual prayer. True that it refers to a collective, law-bound system, including economic justice, zakat. 3. Quran 402, Salah in battle. And when thou art among them and leadest the prayer for them, describes the Prophet organizing salah in a dangerous situation. Uses aqamta lahum, you, singular, establish for them, conclusion. False that salah is an individual or ceremonial act here. True that salah is leadership in collective obedience and security. 4. Quran 107, 4-5. Rebuke of ritualism. So woe to the praying ones who are unmindful of their prayer. Uses plural noun and musallin, those who do salah. Critiques those who perform salah while neglecting justice and charity, verses 1-7. Conclusion. False that salah here refers to valid ritual worship. True that it condemns performative acts disconnected from social responsibility. Synthesis of findings. Proposition. Truth, value. The Quran mandates individual ritual salah. False. The Quran mandates collective ritual salah. The Quran describes salah as a ritual act of prayer. The Quran describes salah as a system of alignment, obedience, leadership. True. Final conclusion. Under the principle of bivalence and strict linguistic analysis, there is no mandate in the Quran for either an individual or collective salah as a ritual prayer. All references to salah relate to alignment, obedience, and systemic leadership, not ritual or liturgy.
Okay, now, do you have the segment that I gave you from my chat? I think it was those 4 sessions in blue. Because what you just played was the second part of the first session that I was looking for you to play. Now you should have another section where I'm addressing 2241 from my particular chat that I gave you. It was like 4 sessions or something like that. You remember the ones in blue I sent you in your messenger? And I put the heading 2241. One second, folks. See it? You remember when we talked about you had 4 sessions of it. It was and it was all in blue in your messenger. That was to go with my chat. Remember this page?
This is that one. This is that one.
No,
That is
this
one.
one had 2 parts.
Okay, the first one was we played this with 710, and I just played this one. The one that you
No,
sent
that
me.
was supposed to be my chat talking.
That was it.
No,
This
that
one?
was a man's voice.
Yeah, but it's
Oh,
It's
it
that-
oh,
it's
it
this one,
converts.
yes.
Okay. So yours convert to the man's
Yeah.
voice? Okay, no problem. All right, so my bad. I'm looking for a female voice, and when he converts it, it converts to a male's voice. Okay, so we had it both. So we got them both. So now we understand what chat is saying regarding the establishment of Salah. That Salah by the believers meaning those people who trust. Believers mean the people who trust, who have a book, who have a revelation, and they trust that revelation. Like in chapter 2, verse 2 to 5. Chapter 2, verse 2 to 5. It's the believers there. Can you pull that up? Chapter 2, verse 2 to 5. The believers there, amanu, meaning people who are secure, people who trust. It's not a religious term. It says, that book, Valika, that book, not this book. That book, there's no doubt in it. It is a guide to those who keep their duty. It's a guide to those who keep their duty. Who what? Who believe in the unseen and keep up prayer and spend out of what we have given them. And who what? Who believe in that which has been revealed to thee and that which was revealed before thee, and in the hereafter they are sure. They are sure. So now we see that those are the people who believe. Now, when we look at chapter 6, verse 19, which we're going to do in a minute, we're going to deal with that. But just look at it right now, real quick, a portion of it. Chapter 6, 19. Say, what thing is weightiest in testimony? Say, Allah's witness between me and you, and that this Quran has been revealed to me, that with it I may warn you and whomever it reaches. This verse here has nothing to do with people who believe. It's mankind in general. It's mankind in general. It's got nothing to do with believers. Believers. It's got nothing to do with believers. It's mankind in general. Whomever it reaches. Whomever it reaches, mankind in general. And that mankind in general are known in some places as the Muslimin, the people who establish the Salah and do what they're supposed to be doing. So those people who have become believers are also Muslims, but the Muslims are not believers. And the Quran, the book, and all of that is for people who trust. So now let's take a look at this 619. Let's take a look at this. Well, matter of fact, let's stop this for a minute, and let me just take some questions. I'm speeding a little bit. We're going to stop and pause for a minute to take some questions on what I just said regarding that no Muslim. And this is what I'm saying. I'm making it clear now. And you can call anybody who disagrees with what I'm saying, who has any background worth more than a storefront preacher, can call me and ask me to come and uphold what I'm saying. I want to talk to some scholar, some big scholar. Maybe they got no time to talk to me. So you ask your sheikh, you small guy, the guy who just came on board here, ask your sheikh, say, look, this guy's saying we're not supposed to be making no salah, Muslims. We're not supposed to make salah. And of course they're going to say, this guy's nuts. He's out of his mind. So then ask them to call me to their platform, call me to their place, call me on some Zoom, and if they're out of town, out of the country or somewhere, set up something so we can have a dialogue or a debate. I prefer that on this issue, and I'll back it up 100%, and they won't be able to say anything about this at all. They have nothing to say. This is a lose situation for them. So get it up the ladder to the top, and then maybe somebody will send it back down to you, and you can say, brother, this is why you're wrong. No, there's no salah for any Muslim. There's no praying. There's no word praying in the Quran. There's no prayer in the Quran at all. And we just told you what, if you establish in the land, then you establish the salah. You can't establish no salah if you're not established in the land. Salah is a legal term with obligations and commands that have to be obeyed, have to be administered, adhered to, enforced, and obeyed based on the laws, revelation, his book. Somebody has to do that. You can't just do that because you took your shahada and opened a little mosque on this corner and all that. Now you're gonna run up and down the street chasing people and holding them accountable and lashing them in the street or chopping off their hands or putting them in jail or whatever. You can't do that. Just go somewhere and make your little salah ritual in a corner and sit down. You don't have no authority to do nothing. But once you have authority in the land, now you can implement Allah's legislation, and that's going to be your salah. And your remembrance of Allah is going to be greater even than your salah. We discussed all of that. We discussed that already. So, any questions on what I just said? Anybody? The line is open. The Zoom is open for questions and clarification.
Salam, Hamza. I have a question if you don't mind.
Who's this, Billy?
Yeah, this is Billy.
Assalamu alaikum, Billy.
Hey, welcome, Salam, Hamza. I just have a question to clarify. I want to make sure I'm understanding the point regarding Surah 22, verse 41. I was just checking the context, and it looks to me like these verses, including the verses prior, are talking about a group of people that have permission from Allah. It says, for example, in Surah 22, verse 39, that they've got permission to fight is given to them if war is made and they're oppressed. And most surely as Allah is able to well assist them. And then in Surah 22, verse 40, it goes on to again describe those same people. And then in 41 is where I notice, as you rightly pointed out, it says, those who should we establish them, or if we establish them in the land, will then keep up Salah. And so is the point here that it says if they are established in the land, then they'll establish Salah, right? Then they keep up Salah. But if Salah was understood to be a ritual, then that wouldn't make sense, right? Because if Salah is a ritual, it's something they should be doing all of the time, whether they're established in the land or not. If Salah is a ritual that everybody's supposed to perform all of the time, then it wouldn't matter if they're established in the land or not. That's just something that we're supposed to do if Salah's a ritual for everybody. So is that the point here? The point that it can't be a ritual for everybody all of the time? Because this verse specifically points out that they'll keep up Salah if they're established in the land, which would
Well,
seem to imply that they're.
I don't know what kind of hammer you're using, Billy, but you hit the nail right on the head.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Hamza. I wasn't sure if I was understanding it correctly or if the point was being missed on me,
Certainly are.
but
You
I
certainly
was.
are. You certainly are established, and that's the context. You know, the people who are war, they're making war against you, and you have to fight them, and you have to run. And Allah says He made the earth spacious and all that, and so you got to keep running, running, running. Once you get to a place where now you're settled in and you build your own society, now you begin to build your legislation. You begin to build your army. You begin to build your defense mechanism. You begin to build your missionary force. You begin to establish Islam and spread Islam, not by force, but by inviting people to the truth, having dialogue and debate with them, allowing them to pay the jizya if that's anything that they need to pay for your protection, and allowing them to practice freedom, whatever they believe, as long as it doesn't corrupt anything in the society. In other words, you're the ruler, you're the Khalifa, you're the ruler of the land, and so therefore you can establish now what is known as Salah,
That makes
the
sense. That
law,
makes
the
sense.
legislation of Allah.
Yeah, I apologize for my struggle to articulate my question for a
Oh,
second
you made
there.
it very clear. No, that
I
was very
stumbled, but
clear.
I appreciate the clarification, Hamza. I really wanted to make sure I was understanding that correctly.
No,
For a
I
moment,
don't have to
I thought the
clarify
point might be
anything.
being missed on me.
You were right on spot. You was right on point, Billy.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right on point.
Hamza, Tariq here.
Yeah.
Salam, brother. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. So then, for example, the people like in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the Emirates, they have authority in the land.
Yeah.
So they should have the ability to establish Salah. Is that
What
correct?
they're supposed to be doing. That's what they're supposed to be doing, but they have converted it into a ritual, a religion.
Mm-hmm.
They have converted the Quranic concept of Salah into a religion of Islam. And everything Salah is praying and dhikr, sitting around praying all day, 5 prayers a day. Muhammad went up to heaven to get the 5 prayers, 50, argued with Moses, that whole thing where you got all that stuff from. That's all fictitious stuff, got nothing to do with the Quran.
And us here in say United States, for example, Muslims, we don't have the ability to establish Salah in the land of
Not at
authority.
all. Not at
Oh,
all.
what a brilliant,
You don't rule nothing.
what a brilliant lecture, man! Wow, all
Yeah.
praise is due
You
to
don't
Allah.
rule
Thank you,
nothing.
Hamza.
All you can do is believe in Allah and do good deeds.
Mm.
But ain't nobody asked you to go make those 5 prayers a day and all that ritual thing that you're doing. That's something that they hijack and spread it around the world. And they teach these people to go over to Saudi, study, become people of knowledge, give them a bunch of books and all of that, and have them teach you that Wahhabi brand of religion. That Saudi Arabia brand of religion, where you paint your beard red, you wear your pants high, and you just pray all day long. Pray, 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 pray. Just pray, 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 pray. Just
Thank
pray.
you, Hamza.
Everything is just prayer, religion, prayer. Brother, you make your salah. Brother, you make a wudu. How'd you make wudu? Wudu has got nothing to do with you. It says, "Oh, you who believe when you rise for wash." Not you Muslim. Ain't telling a Muslim to rise and wash nothing. So that's all fake mixed up mushrik stuff. The Pakistan, everybody, whatever they're doing, Egypt and all that, they all got some Quran and some tradition, Sunni and all that stuff, and it's all wrong. Simple as that. We've been making that case over and over and over and over again, and it's like beating a dead horse. It's all wrong. And we're telling you what it is, and the Quran is right there. We just recite it to you. If we establish you in the land, then you do the salah. Like Billy just said, if it's a ritual prayer, you don't have to be established nowhere. You just go in the corner and make salah. Go in the house and make salah. Nobody can prevent you from making salah. You can do it riding down the street, sitting on the bus and thinking to yourself and making salah. Nobody can do that. You ain't established nothing. As soon as you get off the train, somebody slap you upside your head and take you to jail. For spitting on the ground. And that's their law. And over in the next town, they say, oh, it's all right to spit on the ground as long as you don't spit in where people walk. So they make their own legislation. They do their own thing. It's very simple. There's no ritual praying, period. We've made that case. Anybody who wants to keep doing that, let them die in their rage and announce to them a painful chastisement. How foolish can they be? Just the same thing we said about slave. Is why I keep playing and saying about slave over again, and then explain what a slave is. What are you talking about? You don't want to be a slave of a law? To win to be assured of his paradise, you rather be something else. When the law tells you the benefit of it, rejoice in this bargain that you made. You don't own yourself anymore and all that. I play it now for one person to hear it, not to annoy people or why he keep playing that over there, because maybe one person didn't hear it, and I want that one person to hear. When you get ready to play it, you just skip past that part because you don't want to hear that. So you skip past it. Let the new person hear it and say, wow, I didn't know that. Look at that. Somebody told me, somebody said, don't call yourself a slave. And look what this guy said right here. Here's the verses and everything. I'm a slave. So this is the story. So yeah, you're spot on again also, Brother Tariq. Anybody else?
Thank you, Hamza, for that response, brother. Thank you very much.
Anybody else want to chime in on this and disagree or agree? I know there's someone maybe who disagreeing in their mind. They disagree that brother Muslims supposed to make salah. How can a Muslim not make salah? All these people are doing this wrong. Yeah, all the people are doing wrong the same way you say all the Christians are doing their stuff wrong. The same way you look at them and say they believe Jesus is the Son of God and God incarnate and the Trinity. They're all wrong. They're more than you, and you say they're all wrong. And then the Shiite look at the Sunni and say he's all wrong. The Sunni look at the Shiite and say he's all wrong. The Qadiani look at the Lahori, he's all wrong. Lahori look at the Qadiani. Everybody's all wrong, except you. You who are wrong, everybody else is all wrong. You're just wrong. But they're all wrong. And when the truth comes, you reject the truth. Why? That brother don't know no Arabic. He's sitting there talking that. What do you know? You don't know no Arabic. You don't know. So now I got chat backing me up, and now you're scared to death. You're running like rabbits now. Because chat now is coming to back up what I'm saying from the Quran. The Quran is saying it. Then I said, chat, back it up with the Arabic so these people who think they know Arabic can close their mouths. Keep their mouth closed. And that's what you do now. You keep your mouth closed. Yeah, you keep your mouth closed now. You don't want to come up against this. It was bad enough before. Now it's got worse for you. Now it's just horrible. You just please make this guy go away. Can he just go away? I'm the snowman, and you waiting for the sun to come out. Please let the sun shine. These guys have been a snowman. They built the snowman. Christmas is over, and it's so cold the snowman won't even melt. we don't want to go beat it down because the kids say, look what he's doing to the snowman. So let the sun come out and melt it. The snow melted, the sun melted the snowman. You see, you want the sun to come out and melt Hamza's beating you to death. You see, but we provide our own sunlight. We got artificial sunlight. AI. Anybody else? Anybody else want to chime in on this hot subject here? Because this is going to keep going, and I'm going to push it over and over again. And I dare anybody to come up against it of notoriety, not just any Tom, Dick, and Harry who got some comment to make. I don't care nothing about your comments. I've told you that before. Get some big time person, some mufti from somewhere, and let them say, this guy don't know what he's talking about. If he comes over here, I'll wear him out. And I'll come over there. I'll come over there and get you. I'll come and get you. I'll come and get you. Trust me. Anybody else? Because you know what I'm talking about. Simple as that. I'm sorry. Who was that?
Shafiq. Assalamu alaikum.
That's not.
What you just produced is from Allah, the truth. And it amazes me that these individuals, they continue to believe in this lie without investigation, without investigation at all. But the truth that comes from Allah, which they claim to believe in and trust, they don't even examine it or look into the verses that you are given. They're looking at you as a person as opposed to Allah, you see, and what he's given. You just conveying the messages of Allah, and they stand. You can't refute Allah. You can't refute him with no verses or anything. So that's just what I wanted to add. And I thank you very much for the presentation on that. Very strong arguments that you can't refute because they're from Allah.
Yeah. So law is legislation. So law is legislation. It's turning towards and following closely. That's what chapter 75, verse 31 and 32 gives you the basic root foundation of the word salah. That's where it jumps from. To turn towards something and follow it closely. And that's what 29:45 says, utlu. Utlu means to follow closely. That's what the word translates as follow closely. And it tells you in that verse that the remembrance of Allah is even greater than the salah. We broke all that down in my last session that we had. We broke it all down. We went through all of it. So it's there right there for you to see. And we'll do it over and over and over again.
Exactly.
All right, so if there's no more questions, we'll move on to the next segment. Does anybody else want to chime in, say something either positive or negative? You can say something negative, it's no problem. When I say negative, meaning you can disagree. And we can see how we handle the disagreement. Maybe we can't, and we'll see what it is. I just saw something that I thought I would never see in my life the other day when some young man came on talking about the Quran contradicts itself. The Quran contradicts itself. And that was left unchallenged apparently, but I didn't see no global outrage about that. People who saw it, I didn't see nobody jumping up and down at what that man said. The Quran contradicts itself right there, and you let that everybody let that go by. Nobody said nothing about it. Nobody's been writing articles about it or anything. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him, inshallah. If I live until the next Zoom, I'm stripping that man down. You think I'm letting him get away with that? I'm stripping him down to the bone. That whole argument about being a prophet and his father's a prophet and all this revelation stuff, I'm blowing that mess away. Get that mess out of you crazy. No, that ain't gonna stand. Not for the Quran. You talking about the Quran. No, you're not assaulting the Quran like that. and on my watch. So I'll be getting that and stripping that down. Young man. Somebody say, brother, you too old. Let the young people handle this now. Well, I saw young people handling it, and man talking about the Quran contradicts itself. I said, young people. I know what? You think that man could have said that in front of me? No. We'd have rumbled all day for that. And not all day. I just blew it away in a few minutes. It wouldn't take it all day. Anyway, so if there's no further ado on this topic, we'll move into the next one. We'll shut this one down, take a minute, and we'll open up 619. Anything else, anybody? Okay, so let's go with the next one.